She lovable. It means love, eh? Whatever all you're thinking, get it out all your mind. Let me bring it. She lovable. She lovable. She lovable. Anita, she lovable. She lovable. Melissa, she lovable.
Lovable. She lovable. She lovable. She lovable.
Good night.
You like too much of slack.
I said Rome going down memory lane here because Rome have catalogs, right? How are you?
I good. Tired, but I good.
You said that again?
I say I'm tired, but I good.
Listen, don't let us fool you. I can hit my bed right now.
Yeah.
I thank you so much for joining me here on Behind the Soca. You were very much requested because they said Christmas coming and we have to have room. So y'all, here's room.
It's true.
Nobody can come and chastise me after this.
Right.
There's a question and coming already. All your wait now, man. All right, before we get in, Rome, bro, how did we play the tassa at the wedding? My God.
They get that tassa this weekend, they were bad.
Nice. Well, I normally like to have the guests introduce themselves and tell us what part of Trinidad and Tobago they're representing. Everybody know your name. He said it already. So just let us know what part of Trinidad and Tobago you are representing.
I remember massive in the building.
What?
Actually, Malabar. Yeah, from the east. From Malabar in Arima. So shout to my Malabar team.
Only we have an Eastman on the line. Everybody always from South.
Everybody from South.
Everybody, most of the people that was here from South. So I'm happy to have an Eastman on the line because I'm from the East. Thanks for that very much. So I also
from Rane.
thought you represented Rosa, you
know? Santa Rosa, well, no, but my music career actually started, my professional music career started in Santa Rosa with Devon Matthews in his studio. So that is how things kick off. Yeah, so there was actually there was actually a group back then called Team Rosa.
I know.
And
they had a tag Team Rosa.
Yeah.
So what year was that? Because what year did you start singing professionally, and what was the name of your first release?
That would have been 11 years ago. So that was about 2013, around that. The first song I ever did was a song called Push It Back. That song was and I did music video and thing, but I come out hard with that song.
I gotta give you a piece of the song.
The hook line was push it back, right back, girl, push it back, girl, roll and waist, girl, in that motion, make my soldier stand at attention and ease. Yeah, that tune was bubbling.
Yeah, that song like a tune that was bubbling, like that real Rosa Slackman. So, who produced that one for you?
That song was Madman Johan. Yeah, I wrote it, and Madman Johan. That was a funny beginning to my music career, you know, thinking back on it, because those days I wasn't a professional singer. I just wanted to do music on the whole.
Right.
And back then I was an engineer, and
we get in there.
I decided I'm going to do music, and my girlfriend at the time, she was like, you know what, I have a friend and he's a producer, and it turned out to be Madman Johan. And she was like, let me take you to the studio and meet him and see what could work out. So she took me to the studio. Those days Johan was in Samoa. Went to the studio. First person I met when I walked in the studio was this young red girl. She looking pretty, yeah? I say, what's your name again? She say, Nessa. When you see Bridget, that was Nessa Preppy as I walk in the studio.
Yeah.
And she was doing her first song there too. So both of us started off same time.
Nice. And both of them from the East.
Both of us from Arima. She from Calgary and I from Malabar.
I just want
And
to give a disclaimer and have some people on this live here, I ain't gonna call no name shady. They will come at you hard with questions and comments, right? So
yeah, man. Look, somebody say I'm turning up the song. That was the first song.
yeah. Oh yeah, he know it all. He knows it
Yeah,
all. So
that is
that's
when
what you know.
Preppy did that there with Madman, you know, and I was there when that song came out.
Nice. I love that. So who or what really inspired you now? I wanna say shouts to the girlfriend back then, because the girlfriend kicked it off for you and you're going strong.
Yeah, she really did. She really started it because back then I had no clue how to get into music. I didn't know anybody in the music industry. I didn't even know, and I know, in hindsight, thinking back on that, the average person, if they're trying to get into music, you wouldn't know what to do, you know. You wouldn't know where to go to find a studio, how to reach out to these producers. You wouldn't know what to do. So she really did help me out by putting me onto them. Back then, I didn't know any writers either,
Right.
so I wrote my own song. I still write my own music too, so I wrote that song, and that is what kicked it off, really.
Okay, shows the firepower and the life. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying because I only really know of it from going in the Sister Bond studio, rest in peace, and through Pretty. That's how I ended up in. And then I met Anson, and I met Nebula, and all these other people, and Mr. Jabbalani, and so. But still, then nobody is saying, "Oh, this is a writer, or this is another producer, or something like that." So you really is like, go fish. Well, you're coming in with these questions already. Oh God. Wait, I'm getting there. So anyway, what I was going to ask is who or what inspired you to get into soca music and parang soca? Now, I would like you to clarify. Do you say soca parang or parang soca?
I say soca parang.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Okay. Some people say parang soca parang, same thing.
All right.
But you have traditional parang people who are very, very passionate about parang. And they get vexed when you see soca parang. They would say it's supposed to be parang soca because the parang comes first before the soca.
Okay.
I don't beat up. Parang soca parang, same thing.
So what inspired you to even get into the I mean, you said the girlfriend, but what really drove you into singing professionally, getting into soca, getting into parang soca?
So that started years ago. As a child, I was always a performer. So from standard one, I used to do something called verse speaking, which was kind of like spoken word, like poetry. I used to recite poems, that sort of thing. And at that age, I was about 7 years old in standard one, and I performed in Queen's Hall in front of a huge audience. Yeah, performing, doing verse speaking. Yeah, ended up on newspaper and things for that. So that was my first real performance, and then I started to sing calypso in like standard two. So at like around 8 years old, I started to sing calypso. I went to Rima Boys RC, started to do calypso, and my older sister Giselle, she used to write calypsos for me, and I would go to school and I would sing it, and I loved it. My mother would support me a lot. She would take me to the tailor and to the seamstress, and I would make an outfit when I'm going up to sing calypso. Because back in the day, calypsonians used to really dress up. They used to be in like a suit and all of that kind of thing. So I really used to go all out with my dress code for calypso. Moms used to take me to the tailor and we had a suit. So I started singing calypso, and I did pretty well in calypso in primary school. And then I went to secondary school. I went to St. Mary's College. And I bounced up. Next red man on the scene, a man by the name of Kess.
Oh my gosh.
I was in
Is that really an association?
Kess went to CIC, but I was in Form 1 and Kess was in Upper 6. Wow. But when I entered CIC, everybody was talking about this man in Kess, and he would keep winning out all the calypso competition. And every year he kept winning. So I said, well, all right, because one, he was older, and I heard about him, so I didn't know who he was at the point in time. I heard about this guy, but I came out from Arima Boys RC, where I was always in the top 3 in my calypso competition. So I came into CIC and I said, well, I come in to enter this competition too.
Right.
So I entered the CIC competition and Kes won, and I came third or fourth in the competition as a Form 1. But it wasn't bad, right?
Right.
But what CIC had was this inter-school competition. So they used to take the top 4 from CIC, used to meet the top 4 from St. Joseph Convent in a combination of the schools. And they used to have a competition in Convent on Carnival Friday.
Okay.
So I made it into that.
Right.
And one of my backup singers on the day got sick. And Kes actually came as my backup singer and filled in for me.
You have photos of this?
Nah, back then it didn't have no camera, phone or nothing. But Kes didn't know the story. Kes was my backup singer back then. You were the first person getting the story. Yeah. Kes was my backup singer, and I won the competition that year between the guys and the girls. I ended up winning that. But a lot of things played a part in me winning that. It was because I was tiny. I wasn't this big.
Right.
I wasn't tall in school. I was tiny, and I had this little dance. The name of the song was Move Your Feet. So I used to say, move your feet, move your feet. And every time I say move your feet, I used to do like a dance, like the ant dance. Okay. And the girls, every time I did the dance, the girls used to scream because they see, oh, it's so cute and whatever. Yeah. I was small too. I was in Form 1 and running up against the big dogs. So I think the cuteness factor helped me to win that. But I ended up beating Kes in our calypso competition.
Wow.
To start. So that kind of got the ball rolling for my calypso career. And then as I got older, I started not only singing calypso in school, but it changed into soca. The inspiration I got was more, I used to really like Tricanal. Right. There was a song called Blue.
Yes.
Paint the tongue blue. I loved Tricanal and I loved KMC had a song when we were in secondary school that went last year for Carnival. So that used to mash up. So those songs were my inspiration back then to get into soca. I always wanted to do it. However, my father was not supportive of that. My father was a very strict academia kind of guy. So by the time I hit Form 3, my father said, you see this soca thing and this calypso thing, it's not kitchen and it's not sparrow. Take it out.
Oh no, Daddy.
But
big up sister and big up mommy.
Yeah.
Right. For pushing you. I always have to mention the people that come in. I don't know if you saw Nika Berry's comment. Shout to Nika Berry. She said she love your music. Kyle Phillips just joined in. Kyle is another one to give you hell. So and I also like to scroll up to see what other questions came in. And we go turn the whole world upside down. Yeah, shady. G's and ages. Okay. So what do you think that Kes then coming?
Look my backup singer, one of my backup singers who's now turned artist named Amtoon. His real name is Anton. And he went CIC with me and he was one of my backup singers. He supported me to big up Anton, man, big up Amtoon.
Yeah, he was passing through here. Wow, and we just talk about Pretty and look he come.
But funny story with Pretty too is that Pretty, I was the one who introduced Pretty to Anson. Right. So a lot of Pretty songs was with Anson Pro. And I remember I used to throw a party on the beach called Sahara. It used to be a big beach party on Maracas Beach. Yeah, me, Chris Karen, Shane.
We learn in
a lot of people don't know that. Yeah, I was one of the main men behind Sahara. And Pretty came and performed for us at Sahara. And I met Pretty backstage and I say, but this youth man bad. Right. He can really sing.
Yeah.
So I took his number and I tell him, yo, that is studio down by Devon, ting. Introduce him to Anson and they click. So he started to write music for Anson and a lot of artists came because of that. So that is what kind of kick off both Pretty and Anson and that whole thing blew up.
You see the connection there? No, I just want to know that people always, the reason why they always keep telling me keep doing this is because they learn so much from the guests that they would have never known, including myself. I always heard of Sahara. Never knew. Didn't know the connection. Pretty saying been my bro since then,
Big Pretty and I go way back. And then that you ask about Soca Parang, how I got into Soca Parang. So I started off with Soca. So as I say, I started off with Madman Johan, Push It Back, and then Anson and I started to work together, and we did a lot of songs together. And Pretty actually used to write songs for me. So a lot of my first a couple of my first songs, Pretty was the one who wrote those songs for me. So we used to work together. And I was really trying with the Soca. And then I had a partner named Mevon. Now he's explicit Mevon. Back then, Mevon used to produce hip hop. So he used to do, he was a hip hop producer and rap producer. So he used to produce for, back then it was Mark Hardy, now he's Brave Boy. So there was a duo called Young Rod and Hardy, Mark Hardy and Young Rod, and they used to do rap. They used to do a lot of rap. Back then, Nebula 860, it was real big too. So Trini rap game, it used to have spot rushers and chromatics, and then so Trini rap was a big thing back in the day. They used to have some real bad music videos too. You had VMAX, rest in peace. So it was a thing. So I used to they used to have another group too, I forget them father's name. But anyway, Mevon used to do hip hop and rap, and then Mark Hardy and they told Mevon they wanted to do a parang, and it was just like off of kicks.
From hip hop
to parang? From hip hop to parang, them fellas do it. Wow, okay. So now parang at that time was a real old people thing, right? Nobody really used to sing parang. It was like Skrunta Baron, Masimara. They didn't really have much young people in parang. The youngest people in parang was when they had this parang rhythm with Lil Bits and Eddie Charles and the Arab Movement House, the house Christmas time. That was the last Soca Parang rhythm that actually dropped, that with younger people on it. So Mevon decided doing the Soca Parang rhythm, and he had Mark Hardy, Young Rod, and some of the other people who he had custom producing for the rap game. They wanted to do a parang, and he sent it for me because Mevon and I were just cool, and I doing music. So he sent it for me. He said, "Yo, check this out." So I say, "Nah, boy, parang. I know really on that parang thing, So I left it.
So what I thought.
They went and they did the rhythm, and the next year now, Mevon came back again with another parang rhythm, and he sent it for me again. And I said, boy, parang, boy, I ain't really think I on the soca scene now. I'm not really on parang. Parang, I already have nothing in it. It's not really glamorous, and it's more old people thing, and but anyway, I had the rhythm. And then my sister and I and some friends, we all went up to Toko in our beach house a weekend. And we drink in the weekend or whatever. And we playing like games night. So we had like different games we were playing or whatever. And one of the things we were doing was basically like extempo and freestyle. So I put on the rhythm that Mevon sent to me. And I started freestyle on the rhythm, a parang. And I freestyle this song called Liquor. It's a double meaning song about alcohol, but it's saying she want me liquor.
It's room.
Right. So that was a freestyle in a beach house in Toko, and that song I ended up going in the studio by Mevon and recording it on the rhythm. And it got traction as I had to perform it. People started to like the song or whatever. But then the same girlfriend who introduced me to music, she started to get upset when I was performing, because I started to get gigs with this parang song called Liquor. And my girls coming and all of that. But right. But the problem started because I used to perform that song Liquor with my tongue outside. Because I used to say she want me liquor, and I used to show people she want me liquor, and I'm sticking on my tongue. And that started to cause problems. And then everything mash up after that.
See, it's a thin line. Right. And there are a lot of people, including myself and some people on this live as well, that can attest, artists on the live as well, that could attest that it's a lot for the other party to understand. This is just part of the show. This is part of the performance. Don't take it personal. I ain't really licking nobody, girlfriend.
Right. But but I understood where she was coming from, because she didn't really sign up for that now. When she met me, I was in university. I was studying engineering in university. So she really signed up to date an engineer. She has signed up to date a man who's singing parang with the tongue outside the mouth. So you can understand she thought I was probably going to do this music thing for fun on a weekend kind of thing, not thinking I was going to pursue this as as a passion or as a career. Right. And then it's difficult to me transitioning from being an engineer into being a soca artist or soca parang artist or entertainer is a difference when people introducing it to your parents as women, right? If you're a woman and you carry your mama and they say, Daddy, your mommy, meet, back then I was in Rome, I was Jerome, right? That is my real government name. So they say, meet Jerome, he's an engineer. Parents' eyes is light up one time. What? He's an engineer, boy? Yeah, boy.
People have to talk about to the other parents and so on.
When are they getting married? Immediately, because they want their daughter with an engineer.
Yeah.
No, when you say meet Rome, you sing parang. You sing parang. What the jail is this? What my daughter getting herself into? Or he on the radio, or he on TV. Immediately they start to pull back because being an artist or entertainer has come with a stigma. It's come with a stigma.
Yes.
It's come with he have a certain woman, he doing this, he in the nightlife and that, or he on the radio, them DJ man is trouble. It's come with that. So a lot of parents don't really want that for their daughter versus if you say he's an engineer. So I get that. So it's community.
It depends on the parent, eh?
Right.
Depends on the parent. So Shady mentioned something that made me laugh earlier. He said when I said they went from hip hop to parang, he said a hip rang.
A hip rang.
Yeah, I don't know where he comes with that. But who are some of the soca and parang soca artists that inspires you to where it comes to your music and to keep pushing in the genre?
So let me start with the soca parang. So I think that was in my blood was because growing up as a child, I hated to do chores. But in my house, it was Christmas time was like slavery days. Once school closed for this, every West Indian child, Christmas time was more slavery than anything.
Yeah.
So as school closed, then there's a pressure washer. Is go and scrub the wall, clean the louvers, dust down this, do wherever, everything. And I hated to do that. And you have to paint and you have to wherever. I feel my mother make employees, she make children because we just walk. We used to have to do just chores. But I say hate doing that. But then I started to play soca parang music while I was doing the chores. And that started to make the chores a bit lighter.
Okay.
So I didn't realize I scrubbing the wall on my finger getting bust up in the square water because the parang played. And some of the people who I always loved was Sprang Along. So he would have had that song with roti and egg, peanut butter and turkey leg. So that a lot of my songs are very comedic. Right. And then at the end of most of my parang songs, you will hear me saying some piece of shit in it, and that is because I get that from Sprang Along. And then Kenny G had a way of singing double meaning songs where he would mask it in a way that children could sing the song and they don't know what they're singing. So because they're singing something that the parents know, but if you listen to that Kenny J song, like he's saying, I want my brush, he's talking about that paintbrush, he's saying, I feel to put something in your mouth. He's talking about food. But the parents who mind's dirty and polluted, they thinking something else. So Uncle Kenny, when I listened to his music, and eventually when I got into the business, I got to meet him and he really guided me through
it. Rest his soul.
Rest in peace, Kenny. I used to look up to his style of writing. Okay. And then, of course, you have the Barons and the Scrunters. But I never really followed in their part. I always more look at the Sprang Along and the Kenny J, I would say. They were the ones who inspired me in terms of my writing with the soca parang. On the soca side of things now, in my career, when I started off, I was a bit lost as a soca artist because I never really found what my niche was in the earlies. Because of how I look, people kind of branded me as this sweet man, Gales man kind of thing. But anybody who knows me personally will tell you that that's not really my personality. Right. You know? I always talking shit, always on kicks and very wild. So I am not the Kiss model. Right. But people kind of push me in that direction. And I was young in the business where I was thinking, well, okay, so you would hear my first couple of songs were very sexy kind of girls songs kind of thing. I used to take off my chest outside and things. Right. I used to take off my shirt when I performing and whatever. like that. So, but to my heart, the people who would have inspired my soca career were more people like KMC, more people like Marshall, more people like Iowa George. I was a huge Iowa George fan.
Yeah.
I'll never forget going in the Arima Velodrome
Oh
for
my
Soca Monarch semi-finals. And
Memories.
I taken out back then I had a Nokia 5120. I take out my Nokia, tell her, hold that, take out my wallet, everything. Because when you go in Arima Velodrome for Soca Monarch semis, it's rare Rango Tango, roughnecks inside it. So you can't be having, back in the day. Nah, you have one of old sneakers, I had on a 3/4 pants, and a chain on my neck, nothing, and I taking out all my belongings out my pocket because you get pickpocket in that crowd. But I go in the front of the crowd, waving my flag when Iowa come on. I was a big Iowa fan.
Yeah, once I hear a joke when Pretty had he came out as Wangin champion, right? And that time I moved back to Trinidad. I called in on the radio station. I won 10 tickets to go semi-finals, and I get up in the front and I climbed the fence because Pretty's family, right? I climbed the fence for Pretty, you know. Oil paint like that, and now paint the fence, and I get oil paint all over me. So that's what they're saying.
Real good days, real good days.
You go and get Willie's ice cream.
No, so I was always wild. Like if anybody who knows me from secondary school or even from primary school, I was wild. Always doing wildness on a stage, jumping up, that kind of thing. Never the sultry, rinse out girl airs kind of person. No,
so
that is not me.
Your face gives off that kind of sexy red man or something.
Yeah, I guess that's how I look to the general public. They would see me. If I'd open my mouth, you will think, all right, he's this kind of sexy red man kind of thing, curly hair, whatever. Not knowing that deep down inside is a gunta.
No, please. No, but when I first met you in person with Abby and in Miami, I was like, he looked kind of stuck up, you know, until I hear you started talking. I was like, man, this man is not So you have a question here from Naki, Miss Naki. She's an artist as well. She asks, did you find your niche now, like your brand or your song?
Yeah, it took me a long while to find that because a lot of people don't know how many soca songs I have out. And I have been doing this thing for 13 years, and every year I would have done more than one song a year. So I have over 20-something soca songs and been trying it and been testing different formats and trying to find my song. And what I ended up finding was you had to just be you.
Right.
I can't be Kes. Kes is already Kes.
Yes.
I can't be Marshall. He's already Marshall. I can't be KMC. He's KMC. I had to be Rome. And who am I? I like fun. I like to be funny. I like storytelling. So most of my music you would see is storytelling music. Since I was a child, I always loved telling stories. Right. I used to make up stories, but I was a storyteller. I used to entertain my family by telling stories and the way how I was animated with my stories. I was one person always great at creative writing. So back in primary school, I get in 10 out of 10 in creative writing.
Yes.
In secondary school, I got a distinction in literature. So I was a great writer all the time, telling stories. So in my music, I love to tell stories. So very rare I would sing a kind of wine and jam soca just like that. Even if I sing in a wine and jam soca, it's some sort of meaning to it. It's a storytelling type of music. So like possum, you just play possum.
Right, I was possum and Ponani.
Right, and Ponani is really a story about a woman named Annie who has pon, and it's a story. All my songs, I have a song called Apu that I get banned from the radio because it's about a friend of mine from India. His name is Apu, and it goes. I'm telling him that Trinidad and Tobago has the best Christmas in the world. Trinity Christmas is the best. But Apu don't want to hear, he want to see. So I take him to Arima. I want Apu see. So all of those songs are stories.
I wasn't looking for that. I really wasn't.
Yeah, I want Apu see.
I wasn't
and
ready.
I get banned from radio, and it was a big thing. But if you listen to all, especially Soca Param songs, all of them are stories that I tell. And it's the same thing with my soca. It's a story that I tell. So this song I have out now, Rum Bottle, is a story. It's really a love story.
Yeah.
About me and my bottle of rum.
Yeah.
And I love rum, but it's kind of like that ex who you keep going back to. You know they're toxic and they're not good for you. And they just have to message you and say, hey, a nice day. You're going right back. So that's me and rum. It's because I have had great times with rum, but then I had some of my most terrible moments where I fall up with rum and say I will never drink rum again, and then I go on back again because I remember the good times that I had with rum. So it's a kind of love-hate relationship that I have with alcohol. And I wrote, well, not me alone, Jonesy, those guys know me well, and they write for me a lot of my soca songs. They wrote post them as well. They wrote that song and it resonated with me. I tweak it to suit my reality, because that is a truth for me. I actually love rum, to drink rum, but I know the repercussions of rum. But as I said in our last interview, I'm not an alcoholic. However, I have real fun with rum. I love to go to a party and drink. You just had to know your limits and don't drink and drive and all of that. But I can tell you, I went party sober already, and I went party where I drink rum, and I have way more fun when I drink than I do. So, so
I want to say,
but back to it is that I found my niche, and it is in storytelling with soca, adding some comedy as well, and then being hype. So this year I have one more power soca to release. So you would see I love power soca and it's hype.
Okay. So. Well, I agree with you with the storytelling in the music. I personally don't like people just putting things together just to put things together. I feel like my music have to be a storyline. It come down and I go up and it come down. But I want to say that your Gunta statement had the comments going crazy. Yeah? People want to know what part of you are Gunta. Everybody was like, Gunta, what? What you talking about, horse? Gunta.
Yo, I'm from Malabar, you know. I'm from Malabar, born and bred, you know. Don't let this image fool all you.
So weird, I guess, and this is why like you must never look at people and try to assume or judge or guess. People look at me and they won't even think I'm from Maloney. They'll be like, you
right, yeah.
But somebody made a comment there which touches on a question that I wanted to ask, which touched on things that you mentioned when you said when it comes to the parang, the soca parang, you more looked at Sprangalang and you more looked at I think you said Scranto.
Kenny J and Sprangalang.
So I wanted to know if you describe your style of parang soca to be similar to that of Crazy, one of the parang soca kings, because of the double meanings and the slackness of the parangs that you produce.
Yeah, it's similar, you know, Crazy along the same veins. Crazy, some of Crazy songs are very, very direct. Crazy had a song called Cockcast.
I went to see.
And all them things, right? So he was very direct. But I also had a song called Easy to Break. Easy to break, easy to break. Just a little wine, girl, and a little shake. It's a song about me having brittle bones. So it's like, if I fall down, I will break easy. But it's a true song because I get injured a lot. I used to play football and I always get in some kind of injury. I used to say, I love football, but football don't love me. Right now, I still have injuries from football. So I sang Easy to Break. I end up in Soca Monarch finals, Power Soca Monarch finals with Easy to Break. Yeah. I was on crutches and come out, they wheel me out, ambulance and whatever. So yes, I do have a similarity in terms of style of music to Uncle Crazy.
Yes. Yes, you do.
But the funny thing, Rane, I will tell you about that. There was a period in my career where a lot of these songs I was singing were double meaning songs and they were hits. So I sang Lovable.
Yes.
She Lovable. Right. That was a hit. I sang Annie. That was a hit. Apu was a hit. Country Girl, We're Going Down in the Country. All of those songs were double meaning songs that were hits that resonated with people, right? And then there came a time where people were saying, but this man only singing smut music and he only singing double music, and why you don't sing something clean for the Christmas and whatever. But what people didn't realize that in between those double meaning songs, I had clean songs. and they were not as big a hits as the double meaning songs. So I will give you a perfect example. I have a song called Sugar Mommy. And that song came out on the same, I did a rhythm. I did a two-man rhythm with myself. I put myself twice on the same rhythm and release it. Yeah, I call it the Rome rhythm. And I had Apu on the rhythm and I had Sugar Mommy. Two songs on the exact same rhythm, released at the exact same time. And Apu gone, and Sugar Mommy remain right there.
How did you market them both, is my question.
I did the same marketing for both of them. Usually I would only pick the song that hit to do a music video for. So I didn't do a music video for Sugar Mommy because it didn't hit as much as Apu hit. But Apu hit because there was a big buzz around Apu because it get banned from the radio station and this man singing I want Apu see and all kind of thing. And people went off on it, and everywhere I went to perform, people wanted to hear the song. People were chanting for me to sing the song. And Sugar Mommy came out same time and it didn't get as much traction as Apu. And then I have a song called Christmas Morning, very nice song, popular song, but not as popular as it's popular in the parang circles, but the average person don't know that song. So as much as people saying you're singing smart, when I come now and I sing clean stuff, it's not hitting as much. So then, but I also shifted away from it in terms of the double meaning stuff. So this year you would see I have a song with Nyla called It's Christmas. And that is a Christmas, a new age Christmas classic song, talking about what a real Trini Christmas is about and what it's like, and nostalgic. For those of you who are not living in Trinidad again, things like how we used to eat biscuit from a blue tin, the Danish cookies. And then you don't know if you open the tin, if it's going to have mommy sewing stuff in it, or if it's going to have cookies in it, right? So we wanted to bring that nostalgia back into the Christmas with it.
Now I have this song, I have the country song, and I have that song with you and Nyla and stuff on the list, because I have a playlist with everyone's music. But because I saw you send the request and I was a little behind time, I didn't have time to play it. However, all the songs will be on the Spotify playlist, and everyone could access the Behind the Soca Spotify playlist and listen. So the next thing that I'm doing, and also this live also goes on the Behind the Soca YouTube channel, so for people that missed it, they could come back and watch it. So Shady sent a comment there for you. I don't know if you saw it. Let me scroll up. Ooh, people coming in rapidly. I miss it, but he said something about your double meaning niche, like it real bad or something like that.
Yeah, that is very crafty writing. That's what that is. Because I performed last week in a children's show for kids, and those kids jump up and they sing in Annie, and it's just the way how I would sing it. They would sing it, their parents were right there, and they had no problem with it because the song is actually about porn. The woman's name is Annie, and I singing about porn. And if you listen to everything in that song, it is about porn. Only the adults will think something different, but the song actually is only about porn. If you're watching music video for that song, it is about porn. The woman is making porn. When my mother first heard that song, she said, "This is such a lovely song. I love it. It's about porn." She had no clue. It took my mother a year for somebody to come and say, "You know what that man really singing in that song?" And then she watched me like, "You kidding me?"
Because I really wanted to ask you, you said your mom and your sister was really supporting you from the beginning. I wanted to know, what are their thoughts now with all these double meaning songs?
No, they still, even my father now. My father too.
He came around.
Yeah. They are all, my family are my biggest supporters. So if you ever look at any footage of me performing in like Soca Monarch, if you look into the crowd, sometimes the cameras pan to the crowd. There's a huge Rome flag in the crowd. My father holding the Rome flag, my mother standing up next to him, and they in Rome t-shirts. Awesome. So my parents are my biggest supporters. My sisters, my brother as well. They'll be there. When I parang with Rome, they at the door, they collecting tickets and all of that. They're there at all the events. They're there, they're fully. So I have a very, very supportive family. They call us the Brady Bunch because we always together. On a Sunday, we all go back. Yeah, we all go back home in Malabar at my parents' house and have lunch. And my mom celebrated her 75th birthday this weekend. We would go there, we would sit as a family, we would say grace together, we would pray together, we would have lunch. And it's a very, very close-knit family, and they're very supportive.
That's love, and that's lovely, and that's very loving. That's awesome. And I know it makes you feel good inside to have that support system around you.
Yeah.
So shout to the whole family for supporting Rome from beginning to now.
Yeah.
But what was Rome doing prior to singing? I know you touched on you were going to UE for engineering and stuff. Did you actually become an engineer?
Yeah, so I did. I studied mechanical engineering as my first degree, and I had a couple jobs. I worked at Whitco, I worked at eTech, and then I landed a job in Petrotrin. So I was in Petrotrin for a while, and then I got a scholarship from Petrotrin to do my master's. So I did my master's in engineering asset management, and then I got promoted in Petrotrin to a superintendent, which is like a head of a department. And I was the youngest ever head of department in Petrotrin. And then I get promoted again to senior superintendent. So I was the youngest ever senior superintendent. I was probably in my early 30s, late 20s at that point in time. And I was young. Everybody else was close to retirement, and I was an engineer. So I remember deciding, boy, I want to try this entertainment thing. I used to sing on the side. I used to sing on weekends. I used to host like people's weddings on weekends and do little stuff on my weekends in my free time. And then there became a point in my last couple of years of an engineer where I used to get up in the morning and all on my mind was soca music and entertainment. And on a lunchtime, I had my own office again. Remember, I was senior head of department, so I had my own office still and whatever. And I would close my office door. And while I eating my lunch, I was on Julian's promos. And I used to listen to every single soca release that came out for the day. Because soca is released rapidly all this time. So all now, back in my office as an engineer, I say down lunchtime, I listening to every soca parang that come out, every soca song that come out. So I was on top of the game. I just listening to the music and I was just loving it. And then I told my boss, I was like, listen, I want to try this music thing. And he said, but you have to be a madman to leave being a senior superintendent to go and do this. And I said, yeah, I'm going to try it for a year. And if it will work out, I will come back. And it just so happened that there was talk on the ground that Petrotrin was going to close down. So I say, well, all right, let me hold up because I could get to leave with a severance fee instead of just with nothing. So I stayed on for the year. Petrotrin closed down. And then my boss said, well, what are you going to do? You're going back into oil and gas? And I said, nah, I'm going to give this entertainment thing a shot for 2 years. And if I make it in 2 years, I'm coming back in engineering. And that was in November. And that was November 2019. And December 2019, I got a call to be on VH1 Girls Cruise.
Oh, we got him there. Wait. People always feel creative and not for following their dream. Because I was going to ask him, Shady, the girlfriend, what did the parents say now that he's like, I'm not going back into engineering? What did your family say when you're like, I'm going to give this thing a shot, I'm not going back into engineering?
Nah, my family thought I was crazy. They were upset. They were concerned. They were like, what are you doing? You're not thinking this thing through. You really think you can make it as an entertainer, as a soca singer, and that is not for you, and the people wouldn't accept you, and all of that. A lot of talk. And I remember going out with my father, with some of his friends, and you know how parents could be. Sometimes your parents meet up with some of their friends, and they're always asking what each other's children doing. Sometimes it can be a bit competitive. So what your son doing these days, boy? Whatever. I remember overhearing that conversation, and my father reluctantly had to explain that his son left engineering to do parang. And all I heard was one of the men outburst saying, he leave having a master's in engineering and all that studying to sing parang? This boy had to be mad. And I will never forget that because I looked at my father's face and he felt a bit embarrassed that his big shot engineering son left all of that to chase a dream of being an entertainer.
Sometimes that's how it is.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is how it is. But you have to take that step for you, because only you can deal with the consequences, right? And you have to know what you want. And what you know what did I say? Once you know what's in your heart of hearts, once you know what's in your heart that this is what I want to pursue, and you press forth with faith and let the doors open up for you, and you see where you are now.
Yeah, but you gotta be smart too, Erin.
Yeah.
And this advice I would give to any upcoming artist or anybody who want to pursue your passion. You gotta be smart about it. When I give motivational speeches to schools and even to adults, I always tell people, follow your heart, but take your brain with you.
Yeah.
Know yourself and know what you're good at, and if you can make a living out of it. Because if I was going into being a soca artist or a soca parang artist or an entertainer on the whole, and I knew to myself I wasn't good and I was actually real shitty at this thing, you had to be truthful to yourself. And your family and your friends who good with you had to tell you too that, hey, yeah, so, I mean, you can't listen to everybody, yeah?
Right.
You're hearing them, hear them out, because they're giving you feedback that is beneficial to you. But know to yourself, if you want to be a runner and you come in last in every single race, no matter how much you try, Breds, you can't be, or if you're not even making the football team, you can't want to leave your good government work to go and be a footballer, and you can't even make your school football side kind of thing when you are a footballer. So you had to pick sense out of nonsense. You also had to pursue passions that make sense for you to mind your family. You have bills to pay at the end of the day, no? So I never advise people to leave your full-time job to go and pursue your passion just so. I say do it at the side until it's making enough money that you could leave and go and do your thing.
Chili thing, yeah. I can hug you. The heads and everything. Carly said you have to assess yourself, which is true.
Yeah.
Just today, a producer telling me, why you don't fire that work, girl? I said, I will leave my good government work, right? I would never leave a bird in the hand for a bird in the nest. It's like, oh, I'm joking. No, you're not joking. They wouldn't have brought it up in the first place.
Don't make that mistake.
I tried right before COVID. 2019, my contract was coming to an end. I was like, I'm gonna come out of this and focus on soca. And Anson was like, do not do that.
No.
Don't be crazy and do that. And you know what happened in 2020? COVID. So I'm happy I kept my job.
Exactly.
Right? I'm happy.
And soca is a funny genre too. It's a funny industry. So you might get hit this year and it's cool and you get a couple bookings and all that, but next year you don't get hit and you're broke and you're scrunting. People don't see that part of things.
They don't know the money that comes out of your pocket to fund it also.
Yeah, to pay for all of that. And music is something you can do part-time until you make it. I mean, some people will beg. This is my advice. This is from my experience. I did music part-time for a while before I made that jump.
See?
I went and when I started singing Push It Back and all, I was an engineer still. My first must be 5 songs. I was still an engineer.
Okay.
And the benefit of working while you're doing music is that the money you're making while you're working in your full-time job is what you can use to fund your music career. Because if you're going and do music full-time and you're not getting any gigs in the beginning, where you getting money from to pay writers, to pay producers, to do music video, to do all of this content, to buy clothes, where you going to do that? Where you getting that money from?
You studying them things. I study about what about food in your house? What about your rent?
Right. So
so
you gotta be smart. You gotta be smart with it. So I would say do it part-time, and then if you realize there's a guy who is a business mentor years ago who I met at a seminar, and I asked him that because I was contemplating leaving engineering to go and pursue business and music and all of that. And he said there's a crossroad in your life where you will be pursuing your passion part-time and you would have a job. And you will know to yourself when you reach that crossroad of, all right, my passion is more than my job, and you will leave. It's come up on the time where you will know for yourself. You will know, all right, I'm making money on this side and this becoming a bit too much for me to balance it too. I need to take that leap of faith.
Loving this conversation here. Miss Carly saying dues will pay.
Yeah, Carly girl.
Now, let us touch on what you touched on before. We're going back in time. How was your overall experience on the show Girl Cruise?
Girls Cruise. That was a very unbelievable. That was an unbelievable experience for me. I remember.
Answer that. How did you get into?
So random. God is just working mysterious ways because that's just when I left Petrotrin, when Petrotrin closed down, and 1 month later I got that call, and it was very random. My manager, he called me. I was on the highway, and he called me. He said, "Yo, you're home?" I said, "No, I now leave home." He said, "Now head back home. You need to take this call." I said, "What call is that?" He said, "Bro, I really don't know set of details, but some TV station in the US, they want to do a WhatsApp video call with you." I was like, "Well, all right, cool." And I went home and I took the call and I sat home, and it was a casting director from New York.
Okay.
And she said, well, we have this show. She couldn't give me all the details. She said, we have this show, and we're looking for somebody from Trinidad and Tobago. Now, she didn't know I was an entertainer.
Right.
She didn't know nothing. It was random. They were just looking for someone from Trinidad and Tobago or someone from the Caribbean who could take these girls around from this boat and show them a fun time. And she said, all right, tell me about Trinidad and Tobago's carnival. And that was like part of the interview. And I told her all about Trinidad and Tobago's carnival. When I was done, she was like, oh my gosh. She said, after you gave me that explanation, you have me dying to come to Trinidad and Tobago to experience this carnival, and I've never been. She's like, we need to have you on our show. So then she said, you have abs? I said,
abs.
Abs? I said, yeah, abs. And then she was like, can I see them? So I say, what kind of show this is, right?
Check on this.
Yeah, I say, what kind of show this is? You want to see my abs? So I was like, all right, cool. So I take off my jersey. Yeah, I take off my jersey. Just like how we talking here, just like how I talking to the someone. Never meet the someone. So I take off my jersey and I show up that I have abs. She was like, all right, cool. And then she said, you're single at the point in time I was. I say, yeah. She said, you have a problem with celebrities? I say, no. She said, because you probably had to live with some celebrities. So, but she couldn't tell me nothing. And then she was like, if women coming up at you on the show, you okay with that? I say, bring thing. So I say, it's porn Annie. I want to porn from Sammy. So bring porn, man. So later on.
Oh my God, I'm trying to. Oh my God.
So later on, but probably like a week later, then she called back and then she was like, all right, we need you to come to New York in the next 2 days. You have a passport, you have a visa, you have a web. I say, yeah. She's like, this thing gonna move quickly. We need you to come there. I had to do like a psychiatric evaluation and whatever. So when I reached to New York, it was like real big boy thing. It was like these like a big Escalade came and picked me up and take me to Big Fish USA in Times Square, and I was like blown away. I was like, wait, now when I Google Big Fish USA, I was like, they do all of these big TV shows. And then they took me in this room and then they showed me a storyboard of all who gonna be on the show. And I see in Lil Kim, Maya, Chili. I see what kind of show this is. So at that point in time I couldn't believe it was real. And fast forward, ended up on the show, on the boat with some other guys. And those guys were real nervous on the boat because they were starstruck with these girls.
Right.
Now, I myself was a bit nervous because them fellas nervous and they're from America.
Right.
And they are accustomed to seeing these things. I am this little Trini boy who, yes, I traveled before, but not to that extent at that point in time. And I seen people who I grew up listening to and watching. Back then it had MTV and VH1. I was watching these music videos. So I know who Lil Kim is. I know who TLC is. I know who Maya is. I didn't know who B. Simone and Pretty V were. I don't know who they were at this point in time. And them fellas was like, the producers came and said, well, you all go and introduce yourself to the girls. And them fellas pushing me. You go. And I say, but all in this thing, one of them is a celebrity chef on TV and whatever.
Yes.
Anyway, I went and it turned out so good. I like in the first episode, you would see I sort of had an American accent in the beginning. I don't know where it come from. I don't know why I felt like I had to speak that way. And I dropped that shit so fast.
Yeah, then I got burnout.
Yeah, but aside from me burnout, I was just like, this is not me. This is not me.
Yeah.
I come on this boat to be me. So immediately I switched back into me. And that is when things started to spark on the show. Is that my personality started to show. I didn't go on that show as a main character, but at the end of that show, I was one of the main characters on the show because of my personality came out, that kind of thing. And then, well, me and Chili had a little thing and all of that. So that ended up. Well, yeah, but that was. Yeah, that was a part of it. That's how come I became one of the main characters too, because there was this little love story thing that was unfolding.
Did you for one time in your mind ever thought that might have been a thing? That it might have
No, I didn't see that, you know. When I was on that show, I never thought I was going to hook up with those girls. I didn't think that was it, because I had them sort of on a pedestal, because they were Grammy Award winning superstars. At that point in time, I was now starting off in my entertainment career.
Right.
So it was a vast difference in where we were in our careers. So I didn't see that at all. But I was living with those girls. We were living on that boat. We lived together for 3 weeks. And I would wake up in the morning and see them in the morning. We would have breakfast together. We would have lunch together. We'd have dinner together. We would go on lime and party together. So we all became close on the boat itself. So when people meet a celebrity for the first time, you just have this image of them first.
Right.
But those barriers came down as we lived together.
So I would say that I'm pretty sure that what you did, showing them around, introducing them to our culture, the food, the carnival and everything, will forever be etched as one of the most memorable moments in their minds. You did awesome. You did an awesome job. And the thing that stick with them is the "it's wrong."
Yeah.
Good morning. You know, you did great.
Again, and from that, Rane, I would say is that be yourself all the time. Because when I started off the show, I wasn't me. I was trying to be them. I was trying to fit the American culture and be something like who I was not. And it's only when I started to be me and I started to use my own "it's Rome." I always had that, and I wasn't using it on the show because I was a bit insecure going on to the show. I was comparing myself to where they were. And I was like, well, you know what? They hire me for me. So let me just be me. And when my personality came out is when my stardom blew up on the show.
Yeah. Did that give you the nudge to get into acting?
So it did. And to be a TV producer as well. So when I was on that show, I was signed for 4 seasons on Girls Cruise. Girls Cruise won awards and all sort of things. And then COVID hit the year right after. So Girls Cruise got cancelled because the one thing you couldn't have during COVID was a cruise.
Right.
So during those 2 years of COVID, I went into I wouldn't say it was as bad as a depression, but a funk, because I was like, just came off of this high of being on VH1 Girls Cruise. And I already booked my ticket to head to LA to pursue acting and to pursue television because I got that head start. I was like, you were just on VH1, now it's time to go to LA. And my mother begged me not to go. And the ticket was booked. She said it has something called COVID out there. At the point in time, we didn't know what it was. We just come off a carnival and we didn't know about COVID. And she said, there's something about COVID out there. I'm watching it on the news. Please don't go. And she begged me not to go. And I changed my ticket. And 2 days after I changed the ticket, the border shut.
Wow.
But yeah, parents just have this kind of intuition. But anyway, I wanted to go back out there. And while in COVID, I was like, how am I going to get myself back on international TV? And I sat there and I was like, all right, you can't leave the country because the border's closed and whatever. And I started writing down ideas of creating my own reality TV show.
Okay.
And that is how I came up with the concept of a show called Carnival Catwalk.
Okay.
And I wrote out this whole show Bible for this reality TV show because I was like, how do I fuse Caribbean culture with what North America will want to see on TV? Right. And I was like, well, people know us for our carnival, and then people know us for our costumes and our music. And I say, well, okay, I'm going to fuse fashion with carnival. Right. So I reached out to Anya because she was on Project Runway, and then she put me on, right? She put me on to the producers of Project Runway, and we had a meeting with them, and they loved the concept. So we hired one of the producers, and she guided us. So coming out this January, you will see Carnival Catwalk is going to launch, and it's actually the largest television production that the Caribbean has ever seen. Mm-hmm. And we in talks with a lot of major streaming platforms, and it is going to be aired internationally, so you all could look out for that. And that was because I needed to get myself back on TV internationally. And then that flowed into the acting, because when we produced Carnival Catwalk, I needed to go out to LA to sell the show. I needed to meet with Netflix and meet with the Amazons and all of them based in LA. So I said, listen, I'm going to head out there to try and sell the show. And while I'm going out there to do that, I always wanted to do the acting. Right. So I'm going to go to school and do my acting as well. And that's how that whole journey started.
Great. I love it. And you see, the thing is, it's great to have connections, eh? It's great to have connections. Some people might be like, oh, I didn't talk to people. You do need to talk to people because you never know. And then once your ideas are flowing and you have people that, like, how should I say, agree with what you're thinking and they're seeing your vision, sold. You don't have to worry. But I want to ask you, because I'm jumping around a bit, how was your experience living in LA for that period of time?
Expensive? Yo. Yes. All who living in North America, bro, people feel all they have it easy.
$8 for 12 dozen eggs. $8.
LA is probably one of the most expensive cities I've been to. New York expensive as well too to live, but LA is really expensive.
But it's not as expensive as where I am, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, where I am more expensive than LA.
LA was real expensive, but again, I budgeted for it. So I'm a real planner. I'm a financial planner. I'm a planner at heart. So before I made that jump and getting US dollars in Trinidad, harder to find than a good red woman. So you had to budget out your US dollars.
What?
But I had to budget out and save all my US dollars before I could head outside there. And I did that, and I budgeted for 5 months, and I did that. I did a bunch of research months in advance of the top schools in LA. I did some online classes to do some more research. I bought a lot of books. I am a nerd. I guess is my engineering background. So anything I get into, I study it. So I bought books on acting, all the business of acting and all of that, and I studied it. I listened to books every day, audible books on acting, and I read books. I look at ton. I read a book every month.
Yeah, so, I like paperback or hardcovers. Nikolai Green has called me a nerd, so don't worry.
Yeah, so I some big music to drop to. Big up Nikolai.
Yeah,
so I studied it and I decided, okay, I'd go in and make the leap of faith, and I did all the research behind it. I found the top schools in LA to go to. I applied to them. I got into a couple of them, and I started the journey. So it was great. As much as it was expensive, I only saying that because the cost of living is high across there, but I knew what I was getting myself into, and it was an investment into my future. So I'm also somebody who likes to learn the craft versus just jumping into it. A lot of people thought Rome is Rome. He's already a quote-unquote celebrity here. He would go across LA and it would be easy, but not knowing that I went across LA not having any kind of connections in Hollywood. And starting from scratch and having to learn everything just based on research and asking people along the way. So it was
appreciate it more.
Yeah. It was a great learning experience for me, and I learned a lot. I thought because I do these little funny videos on Instagram or whatever, I'd be a great actor, and I wasn't. When I started off, I wasn't a great actor, and I had to learn what acting entails. There are different techniques in acting. There's method acting and Meisner and all of these things, and how they teach you to tap into emotion. And in method acting, they teach you to use something called sensory. So you're using your five senses to bring back memories. So let's say if somebody died in your family, or somebody close to you passed away or something, they would make you tap into what did that day look like, what was the temperature like, what was the weather like, what was the smell of that person like, all of those things. So you recreate that emotion so that if you need to cry in a scene, you could tap into that based on teaching yourself sensory. So we had exercises where you had to imagine you have a cup of coffee in your hand and you had to convince your brain that there was really a cup of coffee in your hand, where you could actually smell the coffee, feel the temperature of it, that sort of thing. So there's a lot that goes into acting that I didn't bargain for, and I had to learn those.
Please comment. I wanted to say that I was very happy to see that you stepped out on faith and embarked on that journey. I was rooting for you where I am. I'm sorry we didn't get to meet. I didn't come out that side while you were there. But I saw you kind of give us insights into your journey while there, and I was like, this man do everything. This man's Will Smith.
Yeah.
I think it went also to American Idol or something like that. Yes.
Got Talent.
America's Got Talent.
Yo, God is a good God.
Yes.
To me. Generally he is, but to me, God has always been good, and I always give thanks. I'm a praying man. As much as people will see me singing all kind of songs and love my rum and whatever, and not a day goes by where I don't give thanks to God. I will pray every single morning. I try to find myself in church as much as I could on a Sunday as well. And everybody had their own path with spirituality and religion. Me, I have mine, and I was always someone who grew up in the church and who knows that I always put God first in everything. So a lot of the things that I have in my life, I would attest to God and nothing else. I would never see his luck. Because the experience that I have had in LA, I have met people who live in LA for most of their life, and they told me, they're like, bro, I here for 15 years and I never meet none of these people who you get to meet, or never had those kind of experiences that you have had. How you end up in those spaces? And I say it had to be God, because those were very random encounters. It wasn't no Rome pull some link and some string and whatever. Now, how I met Will Smith was a brethren of mine got invited to Peacock, had the launch of Bel Air. And LA is a place where your social media is your currency. So in order for you to get into any events, you have to apply using your social media handle. They will vet you, and based on your followers and your profile, then they will see whether you're approved or not. So my brethren get invited, and he couldn't even bring me as his +1. So he had to send me the link and say, apply to come to the thing. And I applied, and I was accepted based on my social media. Because I have a strong social media, I get through. And I went there, like a normal person. There had a lot of influencers there, whatever. And a girl was hyperventilating right in front of me. I say, warm to you? She said, Will Smith was right behind her. And I was like, oh, cool, I didn't know that. And I turned around, and I didn't even see Will Smith. I turned around, and I saw a guy who I know from Trinidad called Scott. So I say, yo, Scott, what are you doing here? He said, yo, Rome, what are you doing up here? Big hug, hail up and thing. And he was like, yo, come meet Will. And he took me across to meet Will Smith. And it turns out that Scott, who is a Trini, is Will Smith's right-hand man.
Wow. Look at that.
So that Trini is everywhere. So he came. I met Will. We took pictures. I brought some of my friends, and they took pictures with him, and he was real cool. So that's all.
I have a question. Do you enjoy improv during acting classes?
Yeah. Improv is funny. I love comedy on the whole, and improv is something that I always love to do. It was weird at first, but improv is something that you need if you want to be a good actor, because you have to do things on the spot. And for me, I was always good at improv because I was on radio for years. Radio is improv. You had to react. You had to be witty. You had to have a comeback. Some caller call in and say something. You had to have a comeback for them. You had to be. You're on stage. Because I'm a host as well. That's how improv is come. You're doing crowd work. You're interacting. You never know what will happen. Sometimes, look at hosting a wedding and the food come half an hour late. So the host now has to find half hour of things to do and keep this crowd engaged. That improv, you are and you can't let the people know what it is happening behind the scenes. So being a good host, improv definitely comes in handy for that.
That's true. You made a comment about Red Woman, and someone said, Rome, you didn't check Santa Cruz for that Red Woman.
Santa Cruz, a Red Woman. I comment. I love a Red Woman.
Shout out to David Allen. He said, what's up to Rome and Rane?
Break my heart, bro.
I saw Mevon came on the live. Big up to him. Yes, improv is my favorite. It loosens you up and quick you on your feet.
Yeah,
you have to be quick on your feet. Rome, you have been in the industry for a very, very long time, and you have come a long way. How would you describe your journey?
It was tough. It wasn't. I wasn't born with a gold spoon in my mouth, and I didn't come from a musical background. And I remember my father telling me that he used Kes as an example, and Marshall.
All right.
He said, "Why you want to get into music for?" I said, "Well, look, Kes doing it, and look, Marshall doing it." And he said, "Well, no, they came from a musical background. Kes' mother is a singer,
right,
and his brothers are they have a band, so they have music in their family.
Yeah,
Marshall, same thing. Their family was music.
Yeah,
a lot of people come from music, but I had to tell him, I was like, yeah, but if you go back in time, somebody had to start it. Somebody had to be the first one to start the musical journey so that their kids would have been a musical family. So it just so happened that I am that person for our family.
Yeah.
So I didn't have it easy. I also started very late in the game because I focused on my academics first. So only till I was like 28 years old is when I actually get to make that jump into music full time and really pursue it seriously. So I didn't have the opportunities like a lot of the younger soca artists who would have started from 19, 20, men like Voice and Nyla and think they get to start really early. I didn't get that. I started this thing late. But everything in its time, and everybody running their own race. So
you're right. But why do you consider it late in the game?
Late because in sports and in entertainment, it favors youth in that. So? Yeah.
For sure. At 35. Samuel Jackson started at 35. 2 Chainz started.
Acting for real.
2 Chainz started at 35.
But you have a better chance if you start young than if you start older. So because you have youth on your side, you will look a certain way. You have more sex appeal. You have all of that. It will help you.
Yes. So still have your abs.
I still have my abs.
There you go. No, to play devil's advocate, some would say you start young. By the time you reach a certain age, it's like your phase out. Nobody really wants to hear you again. They hear you all these days. They want whoever is coming next that's new. You understand? So I just trying to.
No, there are your ups and downs. So it's not me having any regrets because I will never regret being an engineer. I always will be an engineer. And if I decide one day I'm done with music, I can always go back to being an engineer. So that is not something that anybody could take away from me. I still have my degree and I still have my master's and I still have engineering experience. So I'm not vexed with that at all. That was a great experience for me. So the question was, how was the journey? And the journey was not easy because I started later than a lot of people would have started. Also, a lot of people didn't take me serious when I started because people knew me as an engineer. So they were like, they think this boy just doing this thing for fun. They didn't think that I was serious about it. So when I started off initially, I got comments of, why you don't just go back to engineering? It's not for you. So I got a lot of that. And then Drake sang about this, and people don't see this side of things too, is that being a red man in the soca industry is not as easy as you think. And you could ask, you could ask Kes about that too. It's because you're in an industry where being a red man or pretty boy is kind of frowned upon because
I am hearing this for the first time.
For the first time, you think so, but now is a thing. So you get a lot of backlash from, you get things from like DJs, and you get that a lot of the time. It's not the easiest thing. Not everybody would accept you, and I faced that growing up in a neighborhood where it wasn't ghetto, but
Yeah.
it wasn't the nicest neighborhood. It was rough.
Mhm.
And people look at the red man. My nickname was White Boy Brother because my older brother was white boy because
Okay.
he fair. So when you grow up in a predominantly black neighborhood
Mhm.
where most people darker than us and we fair skin, they watch you as you're white, but we're not white. And then they look at your skin complexion as being weaker because you're fair, you're weaker. So that is another thing that people don't see either. So what I tell you, I'm a kunta at heart is that in my growing up, I always had to fight
Right.
to defend myself or to show that I belong or to people will try to pick on us because of our complexion, because you're growing up in a neighborhood that predominantly dark, or you're going to school with people who darker than you. And they will always try to pick on the white boy, basically. So I always had to fight my way out. I think I wasn't big and strong like this. I was small. So
Yeah.
that's another reason why I always wanted to be muscular, is because I had to kind of defend myself from being two things I had was my mouth and I was fast in terms of running. So you could not catch me and my mouth are hitting your back with comments. Quick. I'll tell you about your mother fast.
Most tiny people, and I can attest because I was one of them, so tiny, our mouth are like
that.
But funny thing I will let you know, up here, I struggle with a lot of people telling me I'm not black. Black people. You're not black. You're not from here. You're not African American. You're not black. Look at your hair. Look at your skin. Girls even don't like me because of my hair, because of my skin, and that. So I understand, what you're saying, but I get you.
But that is the first time I probably explain it to anyone in the public domain.
I've never heard anything like that.
It's not something that people talk about because nobody is going to be able to. People wouldn't want to talk. They would. It's not relatable for most people. They wouldn't see it. But it's a reality where you're not. When you're a red person, you're not black enough, and you're not white. So the white people will not accept you as being white.
Right.
And then a lot of the darker people will not accept you because you're not their complexion. So you just kind of get stuck in the middle kind of thing. And then if you look at the soca industry, it is predominantly mainly black people of darker hues. So you're coming into an industry where it's majority everybody darker than you. And sometimes people watch you are kind of slight because, all right, he fair skin or what is he doing? And you think they're better than me. And also we in a society of colorism. So people just kind of watch your complexion and think you have money, not knowing where I come from. I didn't grow up with no money. So immediately, you have an upper hand because you're fair. So people watch you like that. So it wasn't easy, but I never use it as a crutch or I never use it as an excuse for anything. I just knew that, days were going to happen. You have to work 10 times harder than anybody else to make this thing. And don't make anything a problem. Don't make anything an issue. Now, people in the industry know me and now I'm accepted because that whole white boy, pretty boy stigma came off of me when people started to know who I was and relate to me as a person versus just my image. Then they realize, like, man with, like, Pretty, who come from Maloney, you would see Pretty living with white boy. So, and me and Pretty became really good friends because Pretty realized, this man is a real one. I mean, he just looked like that.
But thanks for shedding light on that. This is why we have Behind the Soca. I'm pretty sure a lot of other people on the live have never heard what you just spoke about. So it's something that we now know. If you could go back in time and change one thing about your journey, what would that be?
Boy. One thing I would change. It's a funny story. Rest in peace, Ricardo. There was a time that Ricardo Drew had his song Vagabond, and I was now coming out on the soca scene. And I remember asking him, because when I started off with soca, and there's something I'd recommend to anybody too, is to hit the ground and beat the ground with your song.
Okay.
Don't just release your song and do marketing on social media alone. Every opportunity that you could get to perform your song, take it. You never know who in that crowd and who watching. Right. So I used to perform in every hole in the wall, every hawk and spit bar. Anytime I reach and I see a stage, anywhere. Once it have more than 3 people gathered, I will be there performing. I did. It have a stage, I did. It have a mic, I did. And I went to a party in Hilton and I saw Ricardo Drew. And I walk up to him and I say, yo, Drew, he had a big tune. I say, you think you could let me come and sing a song with you, boy? Okay. Just to give me a chance on the stage. And he said, yeah, man, no scene, come. And Drew went and performed, and Drew, he gave me a chance to go and perform. And I went out and I sing my song. And I get real good feedback from the crowd. And girl, I get carried away. So I go on and I sing my song, and I should have sing my song and come off the stage. I sing my song, and then I want to start to sing covers. So I start to sing Dollar Wine. And then now I get Ray and wherever Dollar Wine, and some woman in the front of the crowd pulling at me, take off your jersey. And I take off my jersey and I start to whine and I sing in Dollar Wine. And one man stand up in that front there and just start to boo. Girl, I feel the crawl in our hood.
Boo! A man!
The loudest boo. The thing like it just ring out. I feel shame. So if I could go back in time, I would have sing my one song, keep my jersey on, and come off the stage. Because that was probably my most embarrassing moment.
My
as an up and coming artist.
Yes.
That was tough. But other than that, in my journey, I wouldn't change anything. I think my journey made me who I am now and gave me the success that I have now. So all the downs that I have, even that one moment where it was embarrassing, it was a learning moment.
Yeah,
it was a learning lesson. So everything that was a down for me is something that I learned.
You have people laughing. All I see is laughing
emojis. What? A lot of artists won't open up and tell you, they would say all the good times, but they ain't gonna say
yeah. Like you post the pretty moments.
It's our rough times too, man.
True. You wear many hats. You are a host, right, for weddings. You are a radio personality. You're into acting. You're an artist. Which is your most worn or best worn hat, would you say?
I would say Soca Parang. That's what most people know me for. If you hear Rome, that's the first thing you think of in terms of that. After Soca Parang is actually hosting live events.
Okay.
That is something that I've been doing since secondary school. I've been hosting live events. So that is like second nature to me. You could give me a mic and I could host any event. And I've hosted almost every different type of event, from Miss Universe, Miss World, stuff for the Prime Minister, any type of event you could think of in Trinidad and Tobago, and even internationally. The Cuba Soca Cruise, I was one of the top hosts there as well. So hosting comes second nature to me. So hosting for sure, and Soca Parang.
Then how do you juggle all of that?
It's very, very difficult because it also makes people. All right, so I have been pushing through with Soca, but because people see me as, well, Rome is a host and he sing Parang, and then he on TV, and then he own a pizza restaurant, and he's an engineer, and he own a radio station, and he on the radio, and all of these things, you can't really say what Rome really is. What does he focus on? And it's not that I'm all over the place. It's just that luckily I'm blessed to have many talents that I can do all of these things.
Yes.
So if I can do all of these things, then why not do all of these things?
Yeah.
And I'm pretty successful in most of the things that I'm doing. So I did have ups and downs, but I had a good bit of success. So it is difficult to juggle everything. Let me show you how I juggle everything.
Right here. At the pizza restaurant. Next time
this is my secret. So you see this? You can see, you won't be able to see the details of it, but this is how I work with a weekly planner, and every day I put down every single thing that I need to do. And I put down even down to taking a drink with the boys on a Friday evening. I have to put that in there, otherwise I would have spend time with family. I would have church or pray. I would have everything in there. Gym is in there. So I plan. My life is planned with that every week. So even when you and I were trying to have this interview, is I had to go back to my calendar, talk to my manager, see what I have, and then check my weekly planner to see how that can fit. Because I had to balance all of the different things I'm doing.
It's not easy. It really isn't. It really isn't. But yeah, a planner is. I try to do a daily planner. Sticking with it it's kind of hard. Like I had a case today at work, and I'm there like trying to type up all these papers after the case that the client signed it, the accused signed, and then I gotta go.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. It is very difficult. So I want to say this: you're a well-traveled man. Well-traveled. What is your favorite place to visit?
Barbados.
Really?
Hands down
What
Barbados.
about Barbados have you hooked?
I love Barbados. I mean, I've been to Europe, I've been North America, South America, all over the Caribbean too, and Barbados is somewhere that I love, boy. So Barbados for me, I love the beaches. I'm a person who loves the beach on the whole. So Barbados beaches are some of the best beaches in the entire Caribbean.
Yeah.
And Barbados also has a very nice nightlife.
Yeah.
So you can get a lime in the night, and then you can go to the beach in the day. They have great food as well. The people warm. So I always love Barbados.
I normally have a big one on this live, but he been missing. When he on this live is Ruction. So
I love Barbados, man. But to vacation, I don't think I could live in Barbados. But to vacation,
I'm about to ask you a few questions, and I need you to answer quick.
Right? Quick fire. All right.
What is your favorite food?
Lasagna.
Ooh, okay. What's your favorite drink?
Portugal juice or passion fruit juice. Light
skin, brown skin, or dark skin girls?
Light skin, brown skin, or dark skin girls. To tell you the truth, I don't have preference when it comes to skin color with girls. I just like nice girls.
Okay.
No, true. I just like nice girls. It can be any.
I was kind of hesitant. I feel like I'd be like, what?
Nah, no, I check back to see what kind of girls I really like. But if you look at my history of girls, is what kind of girls, I just like girls.
Okay. What is your favorite time of the year?
Christmas.
I mean, I think that was a given, right?
Yeah. No, but I love Carnival, but Christmas hands down. I just love Christmas.
Got that. So you already said that you write most of your songs to include the Soca parang, but I want to go back. Someone a Bajan on the line, big up Kevin of Walker Productions out in Canada. He wants to know what is your favorite beach in Barbados?
Beach. I love Pebbles Beach in Barbados. And eat a little fish cutters after a bit. Our old man will sell a little shop there by Pebbles. Very nice.
So you said you write most of your soca and parang soca.
Well, most of for sure, all of the parang songs I would write it, and Mevon would be there with me to co-write all of the parang songs. I don't think I had one parang song where somebody else wrote it for me, a song called China. Other than that, all of my parang songs I would write. In the soca side of things, I have help in the soca. I wrote some of the soca by myself, like Rum Gala Money, Mevon and I would have written that. But a lot of the time, Jonesy and they would write a lot of my soca songs.
Okay. So I don't know if you see any comment. You say good choice with the Pebble Beach. Let us get into parang with Room, and we're gonna wrap up. So for those that don't know, parang with Room is coming up. It's on the 21st of December, right? But I want Room to tell you all what you can expect, because I know they're about to get all the tickets.
Yeah. Tickets going fast and furious, and we haven't really even started the real marketing push behind the show. So I think the tickets are selling so quickly because of people who have come to the show before They know what to expect. So people making sure they lock their tickets early. I think the ladies 2-for-1 tickets probably almost sold out. The early birds almost sold out as well. So those of you who experience it, it's something to experience. When I came up with my management team, we decided I used to do a parang event called Ham and Jam. And then because I have a catalog of music, my management came to me and they were like, yo, why you don't change that from Ham and Jam to Parang with Rome, because you have a catalog of music now where you can perform your own songs.
Wait, Ham and Jam used to happen up in the East?
In the East, yeah. It's a Ham and Jam in the East. And that's how we started. And then I was like, you know what? There isn't a Parang show that everybody is want to go to. Only Paramin, and that is more just traditional Parang. But what about the Soca Parang? It doesn't have like one show that everybody dying to go to. So we created it. And I said, and I always look up to Marshall for what he did with Marshall Monday. And I say, you know what? I want to create the Marshall Monday of Parang shows. And that's how we came up with Parang with Room. And that's what it has. It is becoming like the Marshall Monday of Parang. So the show is a huge show. And we have Los Alumnos de San Juan. We tried what I wanted to do was to bridge the gap between the older people and the younger people. So we would have the format of the show is we start with traditional Parang bands. We have the Soca Parang, and then we have Soca in the end. But everything must tie back into Parang. And then we have DJs in between. So we would have like DJ Anna and Ultra Simo, they would be there. We have Los Alumnos de San Juan, they would be there. Voces de Promesa. So those are the two Parang bands. Then I would come on the stage, and then we would have Baron, we have Crazy, we have Marcia Miranda, we have a guy called Binley B, which a lot of people don't know who that is, but when you all hear these songs, you ever hear Santa looking for a wife? Santa looking, right, and he sings Santa say I enjoying this party, right, that he sang a lot of those songs. That we grew up listening to, and he lives in Tobago, so most people never seen him before perform. So we're bringing him in from Tobago for the show. We're honoring him with an award as well. And then I have the song with Nyla. So Nyla will be there performing as well. And then we have a special soca artist treat to come, which I'm not going to reveal yet.
No.
But
buy your tickets.
Yeah, get your tickets.
Room, because listen, let me just let you know. I was in Brooklyn last week, and I bounced up Katie Ann in Brooklyn.
Okay.
She said, I am going home just for Parang with Room because he's having Los Alumnos de San Juan. So I'll let you
Yeah. So a lot of people, and we put it this Saturday before Christmas as well, because a lot of people fly home for Christmas, and it's an event that your parents can enjoy, because my mother and my father, they bring the whole old people posse, and they come in, some of them walking with lounge chairs and all of that, and sitting, and they enjoying the show. So it's a show where people can bring their parents and party, and then they are the younger ones partying too, and it's a fete. So you're walking with your cooler. We have a whole Christmas food village. So you have jumbo pastels. We have hops and ham from Great Foods. We have cans doing sorrel infused wings. We have a sorrel man. We have sorrel slushies. We have punch and creme. So I wanted to give a real Trini Christmas vibe where you're feeling that nostalgia, especially for the people who live abroad who miss home for Christmas. You get to come to one event where you get all of the different food and drink. You're hearing all the different types of Christmas music, and you're meeting up all your friends and family who you haven't seen in a long while. It's Saturday before Christmas. So you have enough time to still put away house before Christmas morning.
You'll be surprised.
And party Saturday night.
They're putting away and they're still coming. And what I like, especially with the time frame that you're having it, because I know, he got cut off. Let's see if we can have him back, guys. Hopefully he sends back his request. Here he goes. Oh, okay, here he's back. He's back.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I was saying is what I like about the time frame that you're having it. Because I know personally a lot of people that goes home for Christmas and they're like, what Parang fete, what Parang party they're having around that time that we can go, and perfect.
Yeah.
And it falls into place then. Yeah.
Yeah, and you would see me in full concert, so you'd hear all of my songs from the most controversial with Spanish Parang, straight up to Apu, and then up to what with Nyla. Because that Spanish Parang, actually this year might be the first year I might sing it. I haven't performed Spanish Parang in years because
Wow.
of the controversy that came with it, and
Okay.
I had to issue apologies to the Venezuelan community, and that was a drama.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I want to say that the whole concept is very unique, and I think that's what have you standing out around Christmas time. As I know I was trying to get you, and you was like, "I'm real busy around that time," and then I saw you
Yeah.
flyer, and I was like, "Okay, got it." So I want to know, where would you like to see Rome and Parang with Rome 3 years from now?
In 3 years, I want to be able to cement my position in the Soca Parang. As much as, yes, people call me the Prince of Parang and all of that.
Yeah.
When it comes to Parang, I want to say, well, all right, my spot secure in this thing, and the young people know the music, the older people know the music, and it's a household staple because still a lot of the radio station DJs still play the Baron and the Scrunter and the older songs that we grew up with. That is the first go-to song. And I need for that to change where they're giving the newer music a chance as much as they're giving the older music a chance. And I don't ever blame radio DJs. They can play what they want. So I need to put in the work to make sure that my music resonates with the audiences, that it encourages the DJs to play more of my music and some of the newer Soca Parang songs, not only my music, other than just pulling for the same old 10 songs that we grew up listening to, which is good, but you need to mix some of the new with the old.
Yes, but you know, if they play the new and they keep playing it and they keep playing it, it will grow on you, just like with Soca, right? They drop a new
Yeah.
they hear it once, they go take it on, they hear it twice, they go take it on 3, 4 times. They're like, I like this, it catching it going. So yes, the DJs too have a big part to play in it. And
But
you and
that is not that I want to cement my spot, and I don't depend on DJs to do it. As much as I respect them and I'm part of the fraternity because I'm also on the radio, I know that my Parang career was not built on radio. It was not, definitely not. It was built on the ground. It was built on me performing, as I told you before. Every opportunity I got, I went in a bar and sing and perform it, and any stage, any concert, and I performed it. And then I used social media and I did music videos, and that's how it grew. It didn't grow because it was playing on radio. There's actually some urban radio stations that don't play Soca Parang at all. So yeah, and I had to understand that, and a lot of radio stations now only play Parang in the last week of going up to Christmas. So I had to make sure that
I've been hearing Parang, I've been hearing it.
But they have some radio stations that wouldn't play it until the last week of Christmas, or they would play it sporadically. So I don't depend on radio.
You need to do better with that.
No, well, girl, one thing I learned when I formed my own radio station was that nobody owes you nothing. So radio could play what they want, the DJ could play what they want, and they don't owe you nothing. They don't owe Param nothing. They don't owe Soca nothing. So the onus is on you. So I just do my own thing. So if the question was where I want to see myself in 3 years in Parang, yes, it's to cement my position there and to make sure that the younger people, I have a focus right now on the younger people. They have a disconnect with Parang, and my mission is to get them more involved. So you would see a lot of my strategy now is getting the younger people involved in Soca Parang and encouraging them to listen to the music because I don't want it to die out. Baron Scrunter and those heads crazy, those guys in the late 70s. So there's going to be a point in time where we wouldn't have them with us anymore. And then what's going to happen next? So I need, and I can't totally hold a Parang on my back by myself. So I need the younger people to get involved in the music, love the music, sing some new songs so we could keep the thing alive. So that generation can come.
I can't remember the last time I've heard of Daisy Bose.
Well, Daisy Bose died, so they don't have.
But they will still play the songs, right? All these old songs, and growing up, you will hear it. But I'm like, I can't remember the last time somebody dropped that
Yeah,
Jeopardy voice.
they hardly play it like how they used to play it when we were growing up. And
Yeah.
then what changed on the music landscape with Soca Parang was back in the day, they didn't have this number of radio stations.
Right.
They only had a few radio stations.
Right.
Now you have 38 radio stations. So you have so many different options of radio.
Yeah.
So back then, when the main radio station playing Soca Parang, the whole country listening to it.
Yeah.
Now
big Parang concert back then, Holly B and all this.
Holly B and the Parang was a thing. I remember was a blaze. They used to have Parang competition. And Pat used to have a big Parang competition between the Parang bands. It used to be by Arima bus terminus. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
So those things gone, and I wish that we had some of those things remaining. In terms of 3 years of Parang with Rome, I want Parang with Rome to have 10,000 people in attendance at Parang with Rome, where it's a huge stage. It's already a big stage, and we already have thousands of people, but at least 10,000, as I say, aiming for the Marshall Monday of Parang. And I want it to be a big concert where people flock, and this is the go-to event for Christmas. Yes. People flying in for it, and what I want that event to do as well is to showcase a Trini Christmas. And that's what Nyla and I were trying to do in this song that we just released, It's Christmas, is that I feel as though Trinidad and Tobago, in terms of tourism, we only tell people to come to Trinidad and Tobago for Carnival. Right? Everybody just come and fly down for Carnival. But what the rest of the world doesn't know is that a Trini Christmas is a very unique Christmas. The types of food that we have, the sorrel, the punch of creme, the ginger beer, the whole atmosphere. We have a whole genre of music for Christmas, not just Christmas carols and here and Mariah Carey every single year. We have Parang. So and we have our unique Christmas, and if the rest of the world knows about it, then people might actually want to come here for Christmas to experience it. So I'm hoping that we could grow the event such that the diaspora, those of you who outside of Trinidad and Tobago, come back home for Christmas for the event and bring your food so that we could taste a Trinidad Christmas.
You know what was my favorite pastime? You see the band going around Maloney.
Right.
You know, like in fets, they will have, at the end of the fete, they have a band going out.
Right.
Man, yeah, I wish for you all that you envision. Kevin from Barbados said great vision that you have there. I wish for you all that you envision. I pray everything comes to pass for you, because I can see you're passionate about it. I can see it in your face. I can see it in your face. I know it's a lot of work, but I know you have a great team behind you. So you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry with that.
It's not me alone. So shout to the perception management team. They do the event with me, and they have the vision as well. So we share that same vision. Shouts to Mevon as well, because Mevon always used to support me and still supports me in terms of my music and my career itself. So it's good to have a good team behind you to support you. Definitely. And then, as I mentioned, put God first in everything, and things will fall in line.
Definitely. I want to shout out a shot master. You just come in. We're about to wrap up, but shout out a shot, because he comes to show the rose of support.
Big up shot. Big up shot.
I want to ask you this thing. What advice would you give to persons trying to juggle multiple hats as you are juggling?
I would say plan. Planning is your most important thing. Write down your goals and focus. So one thing that I do every year is between Christmas and New Year's, I would usually take a break. And that's when I would usually go to an island. Like I would go to Barbados, I would go to Jamaica or something like that. And that's when I plan my year.
Okay.
And I would set my goals for the year during that period. And everything, I was telling a partner this week, everything I've achieved in my life has been written down. It was goals that I wrote down. I mean, the buzzword these days is to manifest, right?
Yeah, right.
I just know it as goal setting and planning. So, and you have to write it down. It can't be up in your head. If it's up in your head, it's a dream. You need to write these things down and turn the goals into action plans. So I would map out everything I want to do for the year, because I have different things I want to achieve.
Right.
And then I would break that up into quarters and say, well, okay, this quarter of the year, this is what I want to achieve. And then I'll break up those quarters into months and say, January, this is what we need to do, because you need to have small milestones that lead into big ones that will achieve the goal.
Right.
If I say I want Parang with Rome to have 10,000 people in 3 years, I need to know, well, okay, if it has 3,000 people this year, then next year it'll have 5, and then it'll have 7, and then it'll reach 10. But I can't have 3,000 people this year and then one next year to have 10 just like that, and not put things in place.
Right.
So just go with anything. Any goal I have, I would set the major goal for the year. It would be a financial goal. It can be personal goals. I just write down all my personal goals.
Yes.
I'll have fitness goals, what weight I want, what look I want. It might be to be more flexible. It might be personal goals in terms of relationship.
You need to be flexible for.
I mean, it's loose waist and flexi back, you know.
Right.
Yeah. But that's one of my personal goals, is to be more flexible, to be able to have flexibility and mobility. But yeah, I would say to anybody, anything you're doing, I do plan it. And you could use my method. You might have the digital method. People use their calendar. My method for me, and I could only advise what works for me, is planning. Having a daily planner, write down everything you need to do every single day. I don't go a day without writing down all of the things I need to do. So on a Sunday, I actually plan my week. And then every day I will have action items for the day. And my daily task roll into my weekly goals, roll into my monthly goals, which roll into my quarterly goals, which roll into my yearly goals. And that is how I achieve
to them, which is like the biggest challenge.
And I would stick. And the key to the entire thing is consistency.
Right.
Because you are a product of your daily habits. That's who you are. You're not the one-off things that you did in your life.
Right.
What makes up you as a person are the things that you do daily in your life.
Yeah.
So I live a certain lifestyle. So even I was telling somebody on Instagram, they asked me, boy, how you get so fit now? And I remember how you were before, and now looking real ripped now. And like, bro, it's all about a lifestyle. It's not about going on a diet or something. Right. It's you having a certain lifestyle. So it's not only a lifestyle for your diet, but I have a lifestyle for financial. I have a financial lifestyle of how I spend my money, how I invest my money.
Yes.
So everything is about goal setting and having discipline and consistency in anything you want to do. But I ain't like to lecture people, because that's what's worked for me.
Yeah.
When you ask me what advice I would give to other people, is have discipline, be focused, be consistent, and make sure you're planning and you're writing down all your goals.
Yeah, someone said vision board vibes, and they also said, hold on a second, discipline and consistency, which is true. So I'm asking this question here, and then we're gonna wrap up. I know you're very close with Alison Hines, right? That's how I met you, right? Kevin wants to know if you will consider doing a Parang song with Alison Hines.
Well, that definitely has to come to fruition, because Alison and I spoke about this so long, and we just never got in studio to do it. So I have a song with Destra, and I have a song with Nyla, and I actually closer with Alison than I am with both Destra and Nyla.
Right.
So I think it's about time I do a Parang with Alison. The only thing was that I wasn't sure how popular Parang was. It's not as popular in Barbados as it is in Trinidad. But I guess we could make it popular in Barbados if we do a collab with Alison.
Yes, definitely.
And they have porn in Barbados, and they love porn in Barbados.
They love porn in Barbados.
Yeah, so.
I want you to tell the people on this live, so they could tell their friend to tell their friend to tell their friend, where the tickets are being sold for Parang with Rome.
Right.
Getting held, and for them to come early and set up the cell.
Yeah. Set up all this up early. So it's on December the 21st. It's at Cipriani College in Valsayn on the highway itself. And you would get the tickets. You can get tickets online at islandetickets.com, or you can get the tickets at ticket outlets. So in the west, we have Cannes Poultry and Meats on our Peter Avenue. In the east, we have Nube Nueve in Val Park. In Central, we have Woodford Cafe, Chagonas. In South, we have 519 in C3 Center. So we have the cover here.
Right, you have enough outlets, and you could even get it online.
And you can get it online. They want
to go.
Yeah, buy a ticket. Organize
Make sure you buy a ticket. It's going to be somebody actually said they were there last year and it was a great experience. So I know they'll be back again this year. Rome, you mentioned that you have Carnival Catwalk coming out next year, so we can look forward to that from you. Anything else that we should be looking out for from Rome for 2025?
No, well, this year, those were the things I wanted to achieve. To have a successful Parang with Rome event, that Carnival Catwalk would be a huge success internationally and regionally. That I would have a successful season. I didn't plan for this collaboration with Nyla. It just happened on Uber Soca Cruise, and again, things happen. So that was great. And then now is to have a successful soca season as well. So I have one more song that I will drop for the season, so people can look forward to that. More Power Soca. Rum Bottle is doing well on the airwaves, so thanks to all the DJs and everyone who given Rum Bottle love. And we're looking forward to Power Soca.
Yes, and I want you to tell them where they can go to book you, your social media handles. I mean, the here, but you need room to host your wedding.
It's Rome on all platforms, and I do respond to DMs. People is DM me and think you can't reach me. I see most of the DMs. If it's for a booking, I would respond to you and I would put you onto my management. I'll give you the number. But the email address is perceptionmanagement2015@gmail.com, which you can see on my Instagram page. You would see the link to the Gmail link. So you just send them an email and they would respond. They would send you the information once are available and they would take the booking. But I take bookings. I usually don't really travel to the US during December, like before Christmas. But we might have something coming in the works for after Christmas in North America because we're looking to take Parang with Rome to the world.
Oh, love it. You bring Parang with Rome to New York. You're shut.
You think New York people like our Parang?
They would love that, especially in Brooklyn. Like, to be transparent, my sister baby shower was last weekend. The DJ dropped Parang. Listen to me. I said, wow, we're really missing this. But one thing I wanted to say, Rome, are you a part of the, what is it, Promoters Association?
Right. Yeah. Good. So you see so many hats.
Yes.
We even touch on all. Yes, I was the president of the Trinidad and Tobago Promoters Association for the past 4 years.
Okay.
But when I had to take my leap of faith and go to LA to pursue acting, I decided to step down from my position. Because
the post?
No, I gave up the post to somebody else so that they could do that. But I also wanted to hand it up because I've been doing it for 4 years and I did a lot of work for the association and we reached a long way. And I think it's time for me to hand it off and get a chance for me to focus on my work and give somebody else to do that because that was a labor of love. It was me just trying to iron out things in the industry because I became the voice of the entertainment sector, not just the promoters. I represented the artists and all of that. So it was good. It opened a lot of doors for me. I saw a different side of the entertainment sector. It was great to fight for the sector to build the industry itself.
Awesome.
So
love it. I did see on the platforms advocating. So kudos to you. I want to thank you for coming on this live, giving us insights to Rome and all these gems that you drop on, all the advice and tips that, myself and other people in the industry, especially those coming up, can take and run with, because you did drop a lot of gems. People are giving lovely comments. They said blessings to both of us. They love the vibes. They love the interview. Thank you for your time. I wish you all the love and success, especially at Parang with Rome, and everything that you have planned or going to plan for 2025.
All right. So thank you.
Time, and I appreciate you. Blessings, Rome. One love. I'll see you soon, probably.
Yeah. Pick up for Christmas. Parang with Rome there.
Yes, y'all don't forget, get your tickets. Parang with Rome, December 21st at Cipriani College. Remember that. All right. Good night.
Cool. Later. Bye, guys.